Today, Venice, one of the most romantic cities in the world, was once the beating heart of the Mediterranean, a cradle of trade, and a mighty maritime empire that lived by its own rules. But the interesting part is this: Venice achieved its power not with thick stone walls, but with a hope built upon water. Everything began in those dark years when the Roman Empire started to collapse. Italy had been devastated by the invasions of frightening tribes. People seeking safety took refuge in the endless marshes and lagoons. At first glance, it was the kind of place that made you say, anyone who wants to live here must be out of their mind. But precisely for that reason, no one dared to conquer it. In the year 726, the refugees who settled here chose a leader, Orso, the first Doge of Venice, and thus began a legendary governing tradition that would last for 1,000 years. In the years that followed, the Venetians turned their harsh geography into an advantage. External dangers were many, yet the trade routes were just as attractive. They carried Italy's wines and grains to the magnificent markets of Constantinople and returned with spices, silk, and precious goods. But Venice's secret was something else: salt. Yes, ordinary salt. In the Middle Ages, it was as valuable as gold for preserving food. That's why people said, salt is the cornerstone of our state. One of the most colorful events in the city's history occurred in 828. Two Venetian merchants traveled to Alexandria and secretly brought back the body believed to belong to St. Mark. This event was so monumental that the winged lion, today the symbol of Venice, was born in those days. But Venice could not rely on trade alone. The routes stretching eastward were surrounded by pirates, so they built a powerful navy. Their galleys were fast and equipped with deadly weapons. By the year 1000, Venice controlled almost the entire Adriatic. Then they built a massive complex at the heart of the city, the Arsenale, the largest shipyard in Europe. Thousands of workers built ships there at near-industrial speed. This transformed Venice into an unstoppable power at sea. But this power brought rivalry: Genoa. For more than a century, an intense struggle raged between the two cities. Sometimes Venice prevailed, sometimes Genoa. At one point, Venice even felt Genoa breathing down its neck. Genoa had captured Chioggia, right beside Venice. But Venice did not stop. With galleys that used cannons for the first time in history, they delivered a massive counterblow and turned their destiny around. Though exhausted by wars, the Venetians rose again, because what made them strong was not just their navy, but also their extraordinary governing system. There was a doge, but he was not authoritarian like a king. There was a great council, a senate, a council of wise men, a system guided not by one person, but by the collective mind of the city. European thinkers admired this order. They proclaimed that Venice possessed a constitution of wisdom and balance. Perhaps not everything was perfect, but somehow the order always remained standing. Venetian diplomats were remarkable as well. Across the courts of the world, they continued gathering information using secret codes, because they knew new wars, new alliances, and new threats awaited ahead. And this entire story should remind us of something. When we stroll through today's romantic city of canals, we must remember that Venice is, in truth, a miracle of effort and intelligence built upon water.